Hello, you guys. This is just a conversation about the actual hearing that was had yesterday. I'm sorry. But I'm here to talk about Diddy as far as he did go to a hearing yesterday, and finally a trial date has been made. And the date that has been made is May the 5th of next year. Now, Diddy is charged with racketeering conspiracy, the letter S, I can't say the whole word, of trafficking and transportation of the P word. This particular trial that's going to start May the 5th of next year. It's going to start May the 5th. I don't know what to say. I really don't. But I will say this. October has been a real situation for Sean Love Combs, aka Diddy's family. Because his mother this month, she released a statement through her attorney, basically telling everybody that she's going to support her son, and pretty much no matter what, there will be justice. And don't believe everything that you hear, because according to her statement, that there were lies in between the truths. Her words, not mine. Anywho, to yesterday, October the 10th, there was a hearing in which prosecutors from U.S. Attorney's Office stated to the judge that they may offer indictment known as superseding, meaning they might toss the charges out. And remember what I said, the charges are with racketeering, conspiracy, trafficking, and transportation for the P word. Can't say that you know what I'm talking about. Now, the prosecutors came in yesterday. They gave it was a 30-minute brief. That's how long the hearing was. It lasted 30 minutes. They basically said that they might toss charges out, because that's basically what superseding in this indictment, known as a superseding. They basically said, hello, I'm talking about Diddy. I am talking about the hearing. Did you see the hearing yesterday? Basically, with this particular hearing, that the prosecutors, they're not trying to, yes, Diddy. Now you know you're not right. Hello, how you guys doing? Yes, there was an actual hearing yesterday in New York. And the reason they had the hearing was to set up a final trial date, and the trial date is May the 5th of next year, guys. However, they will have another hearing December the 18th. In which they're going to just come in and try to see if they can do, and when I say they, on Diddy's side, on his team, his attorneys, they're going to come in and have a meeting to see if they can come to some type of resolution to avoid the trial date that's set for May the 5th. What'd you say? You said, I hope Diddy gets a life sentence. And you know what? It's funny that you say that, because the prosecutors, they're not trying to offer Diddy no plea deal. They're not trying to provide him no plea deal. And based off of the charges for now, Diddy is looking at a minimum of supposedly, allegedly, 25 years. However, and I'm glad you mentioned that. Because just this month, there was a press conference in Texas with an attorney called Tony Busby. I'm gonna show you this particular attorney, where he did an announcement stating that he's representing 120 victims that are suing Diddy. They're actually suing Diddy. I don't know if you're familiar with this particular guy. I'm going to show him to you, and he actually stated in his press conference. I'm going to show him to you. Let me see here. This particular guy is Tony Busby. He is the one that is suing Diddy. He has 120 people that he is representing right now against Diddy as we speak. He did this press conference about I want to say a week or two ago, and this is what he said in the press conference.
We welcome the FBI or any authority who wants to come to us, and we're going to make that available to these victims because I think that's important. My suspicion is, based on talking with these folks, is that the FBI is just not aware of these people. The FBI has talked to some of these folks, and I'm going to try to encourage the victims to, in fact, talk to the FBI because I think they have some very important things to say. We welcome the FBI or any authority who wants to come to us, and we're going to make that available to these victims.
Now, I will say this. Okay. I will say this. I don't know how Diddy's going to get out of this. I really, really don't. Because the hearing that they had yesterday, I don't see any plea deals coming in the wind. I really, really don't. Because the prosecutor stated that they basically said in the indictment it's something called superseding, basically telling Diddy's team that either A, they're going to toss all the charges out, B, toss all the charges out, B, replace the charges, or C, present additional charges. Oh, okay, well, it's fine. You can go. You gotta go. But I'm just giving a heads up of what's going on in regards to the hearing that was held yesterday in New York. Now, the reason I showed that clip that Tony Busby did a few weeks ago, because he said, we welcome the FBI, because in the hearing yesterday, they kind of gave a heads up like they might add additional charges against Diddy. And I'm presuming because of the big civil lawsuit that Diddy has against him that was announced a few weeks ago of the 120 victims, I'm presuming. Hey, Janice, how you doing, Janice? Janice, how you doing? Oh, thank you so much, Janice. Thank you so much. I'm just talking about Diddy. He had a hearing today here in America. Yesterday, that is. Oh, okay. You be safe, Janice. Thank you so much. But like I said, you guys, with Diddy, it is going to be wild, because with this particular attorney, who is Diddy? Diddy is Sean. It's really hot here. Janice says it's really hot here. Guys, Janice is in Philippines. Janice, Diddy is the rapper, producer, also known as Sean Combs. He's the one that's in my thumbnail. He was worth almost $1 billion. When he got arrested September the 16th, his wealth is worth $500 million. And for him, now he's being charged with numerous charges right now, dealing with women. I'm trying to be very careful how I said dealing with how he how he has treated women, how he has put his hands on women, and it's to the point, I'll say it this way, he's looking at a minimum of 25 years of prison time. That is who Diddy is. That's who I'm talking about. Now, the case that was yesterday, because he had to go to court yesterday. When he went to court, basically the attorneys, on the prosecution side, they kind of gave a heads up that they're going to actually add more charges on Diddy. It was a 30-minute briefing yesterday. Everybody except, I don't know if anybody noticed it, but everybody that came to the actual trial was Diddy's mother, Janice Combs, all three of his sons, his sister, nobody noticed it, but it was his sister that was there, and everybody came except, and I know they weren't going to bring her, except the child that he has. I think she's 5. I think she's under the age of 5. Everybody came except the little child, the toddler. And everybody flew from Florida to New York to show Diddy support as far as his family goes. Now, during this particular trial today, the prosecutors argued that, well, Diddy's team argued against the prosecutors, stating that the United States Attorney's Office attorney Damian Williams caused a video of Diddy's ex-girlfriend, Cassie, to get leaked out. And they're stating that because that video was leaked out, it caused Diddy's brand as well as damage his brand, and are stating racial profile. That is what they're saying. Now the judge is a new judge named Anun Subramanian. He is a very young judge. He's 45 years old. This is the third judge to take this case. The other 2 judges, they just kicked it out. They have refused to give Diddy a bail. They have refused. They are not even trying to hear him at this point. It is whatever with the last 2 judges. So now we have this young, vibrant judge named Anun. He was the one that both sides met up with yesterday when Diddy came into the trial, into the courtroom. And with Judge Anun, he said, I'm over this. I'm not trying to hear none of this. We're going to set this date. The date is May the 5th for the start of this trial, May the 5th of 2025. If you guys want to have any else as far as another hearing goes, well, you guys want to come back and meet and talk again, that date is set December the 18th of this year. Now, because both sides are acting, in my personal opinion, I think both sides are dirty. The prosecution side is dirty in New York. I'm just going to be very blunt and just straight up, as well as Diddy's team. And I'm going to show you Diddy's so-called dream team that he has hired. And I really believe he needs to fire all 3 of them except one of them. They need to be let go. Why? Because Judge Anun yesterday told both sides, he put a gag order on both of them, stating that nobody in this particular case, both parties they cannot speak or say anything to the media or people in regards to this case. Why did they say this? I'm going to show you the first attorney that Diddy's team needs to get rid of. I'm going to show you the first attorney that they need to fire. I'm so serious. At this particular point, they need to get rid of him. And I'm gonna break these so-called attorney dream team down, because it is just ridiculous at this point. Let me get my notes. It is ridiculous. Okay, the first person, and this is the person that needs to just plain out fire. This guy right here, Mark Agnifilo. What is his name? Mark Agnifilo. With this particular person, he has made matters worse. He's made matters worse because with him, he has already done an interview with TMZ, and they mentioned this in the hearing yesterday. He has already done an interview stating that the prosecutor side, they have leaked out damaging evidence that hurts his client. So at this particular point with him, they need to let him go. They need to let him go because, for one, why are you doing any interviews and your client is trying to get out of jail? Why are you doing any interviews and your client trial wasn't even announced? When? Why are you doing any interviews and your client is trial hasn't even started? This particular attorney has already, my personal opinion, has damaged. It's kind of like throwing gas into the fire. Like, you can't do no more wrong than it already, is with Diddy. So I feel at this particular point, this case is, I hate to say it, please forgive, I hate to say it, this case is 10 times worse than O.J. Simpson. It is 10 times worse than O.J. Simpson's case. Why? Because before the trial even starts, like I stated, Diddy has multiple civil lawsuits in the works. About a week or 2 weeks ago, another attorney did a press conference named Tony Busby. He did a press conference saying, and he had his phone number of his law firm. He had a 1-800 phone number asking if anybody had any information. He stated, call me. He has already interviewed over 3,200 people that supposedly call themselves victims to Diddy or Sean Love Combs. He's already did these interviews. And he now currently has, like I stated earlier, over 120 people that he is representing. 120 people. That's just on the civil side. So if me personally, with Mark, with the first attorney that's part of Diddy's dream team, Mark Agnifilo, the last thing he needs to do is do any interviews talking about this case. He doesn't need to do any more interviews. He doesn't need to, you are an attorney. And I'm going to break these attorneys down in regards to, like, a little bit of background, where they come from. I'm going to break it down. But before I break it down, I do want to show how Diddy's family arrived to the case yesterday, the hearing. Like I stated, everybody came except his youngest, his toddler daughter named Love. Everybody else came to the trial to show family support. So I'm going to show, let me see here. So this This is the family coming out. The first person you see, that's one of the twins. That's his son, Christian Combs, and his mother. It's going to play again. And then you see Justin. These are who all came to the trial yesterday. Now, the one with the big afro hair, that is Diddy's mother, Janice Combs. Then the one in the back, that's another daughter. And then you have Justin right there in the back. And then you have Quincy Combs. I'm trying to see if I can stop it. Now, I will say this. At this particular time, I was going to show you another. This is Diddy's mother, Janice Combs. She's the one that released a statement. She has an attorney in Florida where she released a statement basically stating that there were lies in between the truths. That's what she said in her statement. And she's going to stand by her son no matter what. Because in her eyes, you're innocent until proven guilty. But of course, this is his mother. I mean, what is she gonna say? Yeah, he did it all. Yeah, he did it. She's not gonna say that. That's her mother. I mean, that's his mother. Okay, and she's been a single mother for Diddy for years. This is the same person. Diddy's father had passed away because of being out there in the streets. So I say that to say this is going to be a very troubling time for the Combs family. This is going to be a stressful time for the Combs family. Notice what I said, the Combs family. Now, Diddy, I don't want to say too much about Diddy because a part of me says Diddy could have avoided a lot of this. He could have avoided a lot of this himself. Now, I'm going to continue to talk about the attorneys. The first person, Mark Agnifilo. This is part of the dream team, they say. I feel they need to get rid of them. The only person they need to keep is a guy named Anthony Rico. Anthony Rico, he is the attorney that is in charge of, and they have to go through another appeal court. He is the attorney that is over getting Diddy out. He is the attorney, when I say getting Diddy out, as far as the appeal process goes. As far as since the bond didn't go through, okay, let's try to appeal that part so he can be out of jail before the trial officially starts. He deals with that matter. And one thing I liked about what Anthony Rico said in his, let me show it. One thing I liked about what Anthony Rico said, make sure he said, I'm gonna just play it. I think I can play it because I have a clip of it.
A request for the.
Okay, so this is Anthony Rico. This is Anthony Rico. Now, they talked to him after the hearing yesterday, and this is why I feel they need to keep him versus, I'm going to show you a clip of Anthony Rico, and then I'm going to show you a clip of Mark Agnifilo. Agnifilo.
It's doing fine. Dr. King called it the law of unintended consequences. So sometimes the more you push a person down, the stronger they get. And so he's making an adjustment. He had his family here today to support him. We really want to put an end to all of the clowning that we see on the internet. This is a serious proceeding with serious consequences, and all of us are addressing it accordingly.
Anthony, is it a racist proceeding, as Marcus said?
Nobody's okay with staying in jail. It's doing fine.
Now, with Mark Agnifilo, I'm going to show you his clip. This is just to tell you the difference between Anthony Rico, who's also part of the so-called Diddy Dream Team, versus Mark Agnifilo. Agnifilo. I know I'm not pronouncing his name right, but I'm gonna show you a clip. Where did it go? Oh.
I made a request for the judge to issue what we called a gag order, and the judge is going to issue it on a reciprocal basis. So I'm not going to say anything that I didn't say. I made a request for the judge to issue what we called a gag order, and the judge is going to issue it on a reciprocal basis. So I'm not going to say anything that I didn't say. I made a request for the judge.
With Mark Agnifilo, let me just show the clip, the pictures of the different attorneys that are representing Diddy. The first person is Teeny. The first person that's representing part of the Diddy Dream Team is let me see. Her name is Teeny Goggles. Teeny Goggles. Now, with her, she is the daughter of Ron Goggles. Anybody that knows who Ron Goggles is it Ron Goggles? Mark Goggles. She is the daughter of attorney Mark Goggles. Now, with her, I'm sorry, you guys. With her, she is very young, as you can see. Her dad represented Michael Jackson, represented celebrity Chris Brown. I think my question is, why didn't her father come in and represent Diddy? Because she's very young. She's very young. She needs a little bit more experience. Now, I'm not saying she's not good. I'm not saying that. But we're gonna talk about her. Now, keep in mind, this is Teeny Goggles. Now, the next person that's part of the Diddy Dream Team is, of course, like I showed you, Mark Agnifilo. So we have Teeny Goggles, who is Ron Goggles' daughter. He is also a well-known attorney who represented Michael Jackson, Chris Brown on those levels, right? So now the next person that's part of the Diddy Dream Team is Mark Agnifilo. The next person that we're looking at right here is Alexandra Soprano. She's not related, because I know people was asking about that. She is not related to O.J. Simpson's Dream Team. She's not related to the gentleman named Soprano, but she's part of the Diddy Dream Team. So I have one more. I was trying to get it. So this is, like I said, Teeny Goggles. This is Mark Agnifilo. And this person right here is Alexandra Soprano. Now, this is part of the Dream Team. And the last person that I think needs that is part of the Dream Team, Anthony Rico. And he is one of the main ones I think Diddy needs to have in charge of the Dream Team, is this gentleman. I'm going to show him to you guys, Anthony. Give me one moment. I'm going to show him to you guys. Now, this is Anthony Rico.
It's doing fine. Dr. King called it the law of unintended consequences. So sometimes the more you push a person down, the stronger they get. And so he's making an adjustment. He had his family here today to support him. We really want to put an end to all of the clowning that we see on the internet. This is a serious proceeding with serious consequences, and all of us are addressing it accordingly.
Anthony, is it a racist proceeding, as Marcus said?
Nobody's okay with staying in jail. He's doing fine.
Now, this particular person, that is Anthony Rico. And I just want to say this is fair use, fair use, fair use. Don't come for me. Do not come for me, YouTube. Fair use. But that is part of that's the four dream team. What I showed you, the black gentleman name is Anthony that I just showed you. His name is Anthony Rico. I don't know where these names come from. I mean, you have Anthony Rico, you have Alexandra Alexandra Sapiro. Then you have Mark Agnifilo. Then you have Teeny Goggles. I don't know what is going on with these names. What is going on with these names? But with the dream team, I'm just going to break it down, give you a kind of a background with Diddy's dream team. The first person, Anthony Rico, the gentleman that I just showed you guys. With him, I can see why Diddy's people got this so-called dream team, because with Anthony Rico, he deals with I'm trying to be very careful with my words. He's the one that if you're looking at getting, if you want to stay alive and you want to stay alive and you want life in prison or no life. I mean, not no life, but you want life in prison. You want life in prison, or you want to get acquitted altogether. He's the one that you get if you're in that area. He deals with that. Now with Anthony Rico, he has led 45 federal deletion penalties. I say it that way. Deletion. He has led 45 federal deletion penalty cases. Okay, so he's not new to this. He is not new to this. He has served as a counsel for conspiracy for the World Trade back when they had the 9/11. He was an actual attorney when people tried to sue the World Trade due to the quote unquote, they believed it was a conspiracy. So this is just how far he goes back. He has served it was a gentleman named Corey Arthur in a deletion of his son. He helped get this particular person, Corey Arthur, who was looking at the quote unquote deletion penalty. He helped get Corey Arthur life in prison. And mind you, this was a very heavy load for him, because like I said, he was looking at getting the deletion. So Anthony Rico, he is the one, like, he's the heavy charger. Like, he's the one, like, I want to get out of prison. I don't want to go to prison, but if I'm looking at getting deleted, I'll take life. He's the one, he's the go-to guy. Now Anthony Rico represented another guy named Rico, Gerald Rico, who was Time Warner CEO, a former Time Warner CEO. Now, with Rico, in 2006, he helped get him acquitted. He helped acquit. Let me make sure I read this right. I'm sorry. Okay, the attorney Anthony Rico, he helped acquitted an NYPD officer for deleting a gentleman named Sean Bell. This was in 2006. So he helped he has helped Anthony Rico. He has did nothing but he has a good record. Good record. This is one that you do not want to get rid of, Diddy. Now, with Anthony Rico, this particular guy, he has been practicing law since 1982, which is longer than I have been alive. He has, I looked him up. He has no bad record. Now, Mark Agnifilo, Mark Agnifilo, if anybody knows, he's the gentleman that is just in the cameras. He's the one that did interview with TMZ. He's the one that put out there to the media that the prosecution team up in New York, it was their fault. They were the ones that leaked that video out of Diddy and Cassie. I'm just gonna put it out there. This is Mark Agnifilo. He's the one that's doing all these interviews and putting it out there. And it got to the point where when they had the hearing yesterday, the judge had to just tell him, you need to just shut up. Like basically he put a gag order against Diddy's team because of Mark Agnifilo, who is one of the four attorneys on the dream team that Diddy has hired. Now, with Mark Agnifilo, I'm going to tell you why Diddy needs to fire him. Okay, I'm going to break it down with him. Hello, you guys. This is Politic Graham. Can you please hit that like button? I ask you to do nothing else, but please hit that like button as well as, talk about it in the chat. I won't be mad. You can talk, say what you want in the chat. Now, as long as be respectful, don't get me no strike as far as putting anything crazy in the chat. But Mark Agnifilo, with him, this is why they need to fire him. I'm just being honest. They need to just get rid of him. Okay. He has been working in law for 30 years. I give you that, Mark. I will grant you that. But this is what makes me question him. Okay. Out of the 30 years he was once working for who is trying to prosecute Diddy now. Let me break it down. Let me break it down. He was once a assistant to the district attorney office in Manhattan, New York, right? Then to top it off, he was a supervisor at the United States Attorney Federal level in New Jersey. So basically, he has been on the other side. He's been on the other side. He has worked for on the prosecutor side. Diddy, why would you hire somebody like that? Then to top it all off, let's bring that over here. On his website, look up Mark Agnifilo. Look him up for yourself. I'm not making any of this up. Now, he brags that he is an international attorney. He brags that he deals with, from what I looked up, he deals with everything that they're charging Diddy with. Like, okay, I'm gonna go down the list. It's alone. He deals with deletions. He deals with illegal weapons. Keyword, illegal weapons. Remember, in this case, when the feds, they found in one of Diddy's homes, I don't know if it was the one in Miami or if it was the one in California. Remember, they found in Diddy's homes, they found a weapon that had the numbers scratched off. Okay, so Mark Agnifilo, he deals with illegal weapons. He actually deals with deletions of people. Like if you've been charged with deleting someone, okay, he's the one that go to bankrupt fraud, money laundering, bribery. This is all the things that Mark Agnifilo deals with, okay, and that he has dealt with. Also, he deals with racketeering. He deals with, I'm trying to be careful how I say it. He deals with the S word. S racketeering, S word. Okay, I will say it that way. Now, this is why I think Diddy needs to fire. Not only because he's been out there to the media, right? Before a trial has even started. But in 2019, this particular person, Mark Agnifilo, he actually represented someone. He represented a guy. Let me get the name. His name was Keith Raniere. He represented this cult leader named Keith Raniere in 2019. Please tell me why he lost this case. If you guys look up Keith Raniere was charged with similar charges to Diddy. Similar charges to the point where he lost the case. Mark lost the case in 2019. And guess where Keith Raniere is now? They sentenced him 120 years. Let me break this down one more time. 120 years. Remember the numbers. Remember when I said earlier in this live that Diddy is being sued by a total from a week ago or 2 weeks ago, 120 victims in a civil lawsuit. I'm just putting it out there with the universe. So and then I just feel like this particular guy, Mark Agnifilo, he is not the one that needs to be representing Diddy at this point. Because for one, he has been on the other side as far as the prosecutors go. He's worked for them. It's like, I don't trust attorneys that flip sides like that. Does that make sense? I don't trust an attorney that at one point he was part of the snitch team. I'll say it that way. And then now you're gonna represent like you're on the defense side, but for 30 years you was working for the feds. You was working for the feds. Like, come on now. So for my particular reason with Mark Agnifilo, no. Well, let me correct myself. He said he worked in law for 30 years. In both federal and state court. Now, I'm going to say this. Let me be careful. He has been working in law for 30 years. But within those 30 years, he's worked also on the federal side, as far as the prosecution side. So the person that I'm talking about, I'm going to make sure I show him. And I know people are going to feel some type of way about Mark Agnifilo. This is the one that I'm saying they need to get rid of immediately. They need to get rid of, because this man, this attorney, when he did his press conference yesterday at the end, after they didn't let Diddy out again, they just had a hearing. So his response was, well, Mr. Combs, he is having it rough with the food in jail. And I'm sitting back looking at the whole thing. Like, now, I've never been in jail, but I'm assuming that the food is not going to be to a guy such as Diddy's status, okay, who was once a billionaire, who is currently, or was worth, as of September the 16th, when they arrested him, he was worth $500 million. So somebody who has a certain type of lifestyle, of course, when you go to jail, the food is not going to be up to your status, up to your level, up to what you're used to. But this particular guy, even his voice, it just sounds like this is not what you want. You don't want this type of voice. I'm just gonna play a clip with Mark after the hearing yesterday. Basically, when the judge told him, his team, gave a gag order for his team as well as the prosecutor side. This was his response, and you just tell me the difference. I'm gonna actually play.
I made a request for the judge to issue what we call the gag order, and the judge is going to issue it on a reciprocal basis. So I'm not going to say anything that I didn't say. I made a request for the judge to issue what we call the gag order.
Now,
and
notice what he said. He said, I'm not, notice what he said. He said, I'm not going to say, and this is fair use. He said, I'm not going to say. You've already said enough. With him, he has already done interviews with TMZ. He's already put things out there before the hearing even was yesterday. So you've already said enough. There's nothing else to say except you need to go back to your law firm and represent. And that's nothing he brags about on his page, on his website, that he's an international attorney, that he represents clients pertaining to cases in Italy, Switzerland, Romania, all these countries. And I'm sitting back like, if that is what you do, then the best thing you need to do is focus on that, because at this point, he's not helping Diddy. And at this point, I'm not saying what Diddy did was right or wrong. I'm not saying that's not my place. But when it comes down to having this so-called dream team, this so-called wannabe O.J. Simpson dream team, this wannabe Johnny Cochran dream team, this is not it. And the reason I'm saying this, I'm going to show you, I'm going to move forward to the next attorney that's representing Diddy. And her name is Teeny Goggles. She's the daughter of Ron Goggles. Now, I don't know how much she charges by the hour, but according to reports, with her father, he charges $1,750 per hour. That's how much her father, Ron Goggles, charges. And this is her father. First, I'm going to show you Teeny Goggles. This is her father. Okay. So, let me see. This is Teeny Goggles. Now, this is her father. This is her father, Ron Goggles. He's the attorney that charges $1,750 per hour. He's the attorney that represented Michael Jackson in the cases. You know the cases. I'm not going to go back there. He's the attorney that also has represented Chris Brown. Okay? So my question is, how much is she charging Diddy if her dad charges almost $2,000 an hour for, his services? How much does she charge? Why do I say this? Because I'm looking at her background. She's very young. She's a beautiful, woman. She's a beautiful attorney. But I'm going to break down her background, and I'm going to question, is she strong enough for this so-called Diddy dream team that Diddy has hired? Okay. Now, with Teeny, her name is Teeny Goggles. Her father, like I said, is well-known Mark Goggles. Oh, he also represented Wyona Ryder. Now, that's way back. Now, that's before Wyona Ryder. She has defended clients in federal and state cases, both trial and appellate level. Basically, if you want to appeal. Also she has worked she has worked as a partner and found and founder for a law firm known as Anif and Trader. She has worked in both defending clients for harassment with the S word, as for also as SA. I can't say the whole thing. And victims of SA. Her specific expertise are in cases that deals with security, wire fraud, corruption, deportation, and drug cases. Okay? Notice what I said, what her expertise are. Her expertise are in cases dealing with security, wire fraud, taxes, corruption, deportation, and quote unquote drug cases. Right? Now, where does she play in this particular Diddy case? Remember with the charges, what all they found when they raided his house. They found all of this stuff. Remember all that baby oil? They found all this stuff. And then even with the allegations with these victims saying how they were put under something, I'll say it that way, a horse, what you call it, a horse tranquilizer. So this is why Diddy has her, as well as the SA charges. Okay, I'm trying to be very careful with my words. Now, I'm gonna move forward to the next attorney to talk about. Her name is Alexandra Shapiro. Now, I don't know why people are trying to put her with Ron Shapiro of the Johnny Cochran Dream Team, because she is not related to no Ron Shapiro. And in my opinion, she would never, but you know what, I'm gonna be non-biased. With Alexandra Shapiro, she focused on both civil and criminal matters. She graduated Columbia University of Law in 1991. She's also a leading appellant lawyer. Basically, she helped fight appeal cases. Just like Diddy is trying to appeal this case as far as him getting bonded out. Yeah, she deals with that too. She started as a clerk in 1991 to Supreme Court Justice Ruth Bader, and after she worked in the Supreme Court, she worked for White Collar Defense. Remember what I said? White Collar Defense. She's most popular for current clients she represents is convicted felon, criminal of fraud, Sam Bankman-Fried. Now, if anybody knows Sam Bankman-Fried, he is the gentleman that made headlines with committing fraud with crypto. Okay, he's the one that they say he's in the same unit supposedly as Diddy Combs. That's the unit that Sean Combs is in right now in New York. Now, I will say with Alexandra Shapiro, with her, I can actually say with her, I don't know. I mean, I can't say she needs to leave the team or really stay with the team. You know, it's just like she's just, she's old. She's just lukewarm. The only person for now that I know definitely needs to go, in my personal opinion, based off what I just told you guys, Mark Agnifilo. With him, like I said, 2019, he caused somebody to go to prison for 120 years. How did he help him? How did he help him? So it's like this particular guy that Mark Agnifilo had represented, he basically was charged for the same thing that Diddy is charged for now. Diddy is charged for, I'm going to break this down. Diddy is charged with racketeering, conspiracy, trafficking, I can't say the whole word, and transportation to engage in the P word, okay? Now, Mark Agnifilo, he represented a guy in 2019 that was a cult leader by the name of Keith Raniere. Keith Raniere was charged with racketeering and trafficking, just like they're putting those charges against Diddy. The man ended up getting 120 years. So my whole thing is, like, Diddy, do you want to just stay in prison for life? You want to get 120 years? Because why would you have somebody like Mark Agnifilo represent you? Why would you be? Why? And I know they're paying these people a lot of money, and nobody is being straight up with Diddy. That is the problem with Diddy now. That was the problem with Diddy before. That was the problem with Diddy 30 years ago. Even in the civil lawsuit with Tony Bugsby, he has victims going all the way back to 1991. I don't know what he said. One victim is stating that Diddy did something to them when they was 9 years old. So this is the matter that we're fighting. These are the attorneys that they're going to have to go defend Diddy on the federal level as well as the civil matter. And me personally, I'm not going to pay anybody no $2,000 an hour who has that lost a case in 2019 and caused their client to have 120 years in prison. To me, that is insane. That is literally insane. Now, I will correct myself. I'm not sure if Mark Agnifilo is charging almost $2,000, but I can say, according to reports, that is how much Mark Gago's, which is Teeny Gago's father, who's a well-known attorney, that's how much he charges. He charges $1,750 an hour to represent you. That's how much he charges. And with Mark Agnifilo, if you guys go to his website, he is bragging that he's an international attorney. He represents clients that deals with cases all over the world, Italy, Romaine. Like he represents. That's what he's trying to suggest. But he needs to go. Now, the next attorney that I will discuss is, like I stated, Anthony Rico. Anthony Rico is this gentleman that I showed you guys. I'm going to show him one more time. One of the statements that I like that he said after the hearing yesterday, he said, and I quote, when they asked him about how his client is doing, and he used Dr. King's quote. He said, Dr. Martin Luther King called it. He said, it's like, what he said, it is unattended consequences. Sometimes the more you push a person down, the stronger they get. Now, I repeat that. He says, according to what Dr. King stated, it's the law of unattended consequences. Sometimes the more you push a person down, the stronger they get. And I look at that with life, even here on YouTube, even here in the world. You know, when you go through stuff, and when you feel like the world is against you and somebody tries to push you down, it doesn't do nothing but make you stronger. Even when you have trolls. Hey, Cha, how you doing? I am so sorry. I didn't even see you. Cha said, right, I need to see your clients walk free, for real. That's a lot of time. Yes, Cha, with Mark Agnifilo. And see, Anthony Rico, he doesn't talk like that. He doesn't like Anthony Rico. He's using quotes. he's like, he's speaking on positive. Like he's saying the law of unattended consequences. Sometimes the more they push a person down, the stronger they get. This is how Anthony talks. And Charles on Demand said, I know the King family is tired. They always quoting that man. They always quoting that man is going down. Well, see, that is why. And you know what? I really wish they could have actually, licensed a lot of King's quotes, because I noticed a lot of people use Dr. King's quote a lot, even on cups, even on shirts, everywhere they're using quotes. Even with one of Diddy's attorney, Anthony Rico, he used a King quote just to even say, how Diddy's doing in prison. I mean, not prison, jail, not prison. But when it comes down to Anthony Rico, with him based off of his record, he hasn't lost no cases. Like I haven't seen, and he's been practicing longer than I've been alive. He's been practicing since 1982. So it's kind of like, it's like you want somebody to just be straight up, but then not to the point he's talking to media. Like with Mark Agnifilo, this man is literally talking to media and doing interviews, and he's making Diddy look worse than he already is. You can't look no worse than how Diddy is looking, because I'm questioning myself. Who leaked the video out of Diddy with Cassie? In that video, that surveillance, who leaked that video out? Then I'm questioning myself. It's certain things that make you wonder. And it's like, if I'm representing Diddy, I'm not about to sit here and go to media and bring this up. If you're an attorney, why don't you conduct yourself like Anthony Rico? I'm going to show, I don't know how long you've been in here, Cha, but I'm going to show the difference between Anthony Rico after yesterday's hearing versus Mark Agnifilo. Because the judge yesterday, Mark has made a lot of people mad. Diddy's attorney, Mark Agnifilo, he's made a lot of people mad. And with this new judge, he's basically told them, both of you guys need to shut up. He came in like both the prosecution side, they're going to get a gag order, and Diddy's side, Diddy's dream team is going to get a gag order. Why? Just look at how Mark Agnifilo talked yesterday after the hearing. Hold on, let me get it. I thought I got it. Hold on, let me get it.
I made a request for the judge to issue what we call the gag order, and the judge is going to issue it on a reciprocal basis. So I'm not going to say anything that I didn't say. I made a request for the judge to issue what we call.
Now, notice he said, I'm not going to say anything. You already done said enough. You know how some people gossip? You know how you gossip and you talking about somebody like, well, I don't want to say. You already done said it. I don't want to say. That's how he sounded. I don't want to say. Well, you already done said it. Now, this is Anthony. I'm going to show you Anthony Rico.
It's doing fine. Dr. King called it the law of unintended consequences. So sometimes the more you push a person down, the stronger they get. And so he's making an adjustment. He had his family here today to support him. We really want to put an end to all of the clowning that we see on the internet. This is a serious proceeding with serious consequences, and all of us are addressing it accordingly.
Anthony, is it a racist proceeding, as Mark has said?
Nobody's okay with staying in jail. He's doing fine.
Now, with Mark, I'm going to say this about, because they really try, and see, that's another thing I noticed about this dream team. Nobody's working together. Nobody's working together, because if people, I know I'm going way back, way back. But if people can remember the O.J. Simpson team, now that was the real quote unquote dream team. They made a miracle happen with O.J. Simpson. I saw. I mean, like when I looked at that whole case and that trial, I could have sworn I saw pigs flying in the air. Like I really believe now pigs are flying in the air. So. But one thing with doing the O.J. Simpson trial, when he had his dream team, they were always together. They were always together when they came out of court. Before they went in, they came in as a unit, and there's a reason why. So you won't have situations like what you just heard between Anthony Rico and Mark Agnifilo. Because if you listen to that clip I just played with Anthony Rico, they asked Anthony, did he share the same feelings as Mark about racial profiling, like their racial profiling against Diddy? See, you don't get those type of questions if you come in together and you leave the courtroom together. You don't get those type of questions because you're trying to put the attorneys against each other. You're trying to actually make it seem like one is not better than the other. Because at this point, Mark Agnifilo doesn't look good. I don't know. I'm wondering how much Diddy is paying these attorneys at this point. Because somebody said it best. Diddy's going to end up running out of money. He's going to end up running out of money very quick. Because if you have 120 people suing Diddy right now in a civil case, and then how much, let's just say hypothetically speaking, how much you think they're going to end up getting from Diddy? Like the actual so-called victims. And then how much are the attorneys are going to end up getting out of Diddy? Because if we can go back and remember with the O.J. Simpson case, O.J. Simpson had nothing after that. It got to the point where even the attorneys had came out and said O.J. Simpson had still owed them. And the only person that O.J. Simpson paid, we all know, was Johnny Cochran. Johnny Cochran got most of his money, but the other attorneys, I think it was Johnny Cochran got his, and it was another attorney that got his. But the other attorneys that was representing O.J. Simpson's quote-unquote dream team, they didn't get what they deserved. So I'm wondering how much this so-called dream team for Diddy, how much they're charging Diddy. Because I think somebody needs to take a stand and just be straight up with Diddy at this point. They need to just be straight up. And straight up being in the sense that you know, you might end up getting some time. You might end up getting some time because this particular guy has messed it up for Diddy's team. And I'm not even talking about the attorneys. I'm not even talking about Diddy's attorneys. I'm talking about the attorney that is representing the civil lawsuits on the victim side, that's representing the 120 victims. Tony Bugsby. I'm going to show you what he said. I'm going to play what he said. What he had recently said.
We welcome the FBI or any authority who wants to come to us, and we're going to make that available to these victims because I think that's important. My suspicion is, based on talking with these folks, is that you know, the FBI is just not aware of these people. The FBI has talked to some of these folks, and I'm going to try to encourage the victims to, in fact, talk to the FBI because I think they have some very important things to say. We welcome the FBI or any authority who wants to come to us.
Now, fair use. Now, the guy that I just showed you, Tony Bugsby, what a name, but he has already said that he is currently talking to other people doing interviews. With that press conference, his team had already interviewed 3,285 quote-unquote supposedly claims of people saying that they were victims to Diddy, okay? And out of that 3,285 selection, they have 120 people that they are representing. So he is just saying, we welcome the FBI to come to us because we are already going to come to them. So, and he says, we also welcome any authorities. That is why I believe the prosecution team yesterday in New York during the hearing, they stated, and I quote, I want to make sure I'm being correct with what I say. They said that they may offer an indictment known as superseding, meaning we might toss out the charges or replace the charges or add additional charges. So they're already saying, we already done talked to Tony Busby in Texas, the attorney that's representing 120 victims. We're already in cahoots with them. We're just throwing you a little dog bone, Diddy Dream Team. We're already throwing you a dog bone. What you gonna do with it? Now, here's the judge response yesterday. Judge Anoon, he says, I don't really give two cares at this point. I want you to, I'm putting both of you guys on a gag order. And since you guys want to play in the sand and act like little kids, Mark Agnifilo, who caused his client to his last client in 2019, who had similar charges as Diddy has right now, to end up getting sentenced 120 years, everybody gonna meet back up December the 18th. So after yesterday's hearing, because the prosecutor said, okay, we might toss out the charges, replace the charges, or add additional charges. Yeah, they're just playing in their face. They are playing in Diddy team's face right now. So I don't know what's to come December the 18th, because before the trial starts, May the 5th of 2025, it is going to be another hearing. And with that hearing, basically, the prosecutors are supposed to say the witnesses that they have. They're supposed to say, their case. And then on Diddy's side, they're supposed to, see if they can come to some type of resolution. But I think on the prosecution side, the federal side, they're not trying to offer no plea deals at this point. Me personally, I think December the 18th, that, in my opinion, is going to be a waste of time. That's just my opinion. And we also got to take into note with Diddy's son, Christian Combs. We also got to take into note with him, he has a case in his hand, quote unquote. I want to say it's a civil matter dealing with the female saying that he did something to her on the boat. I'll just leave it at a yacht party. I'll just leave it at that. Christian Combs. Now, who's to say they don't bring Christian Combs into this case with Diddy? Because the prosecutors are not going to say everything that they have at once. They're just going to throw you something out there. They're not going to tell you all what they have against your client. They're not going to put everything out there. I'm going to show the family who came to the trial yesterday, the hearing. It was Janice Combs. It was Christian Combs. It was Justin Combs. It was Quincy Combs. It was the twins, as well as the other daughter. I don't know, how old are they? I'm not sure how old they are, the daughters. But I know the sons, they're all over the age of 25. They're grown men. And the only person, and I think I saw, Charles, are you still there? Are you still there? Because I think I saw Diddy's sister. Yeah, little Diddy be doing too much. The only two with, exactly. Yeah. Now, Charles, I'm going to ask you this. Did you hear about Justin Combs, though? What happened to him? Because Justin Combs' mother, she's she noticed you didn't see her. Like she's kind of upset with Diddy. She's kind of upset with Diddy because of Justin Combs allegedly having problems with alcohol, allegedly. So she's kind of upset with Diddy. Did you hear about that? Dealing with Justin Combs. I think with Justin, Justin Combs needs to hang more with Quincy Combs. Cause it seems like Justin, what you say? Yes, I like Justin Moms, fashion icon. And no, no. See, I think with Justin's mother, they're trying to really, that's why she's upset with Diddy. Because she is looking at the fact that, okay, you adopted my son. Because Justin is not biologically, supposedly, allegedly, not biologically Diddy's. But on one flip of the side, let's be honest, you know, Diddy helped Justin and her. Okay? And for her, I think had it not been for her, Justin wouldn't be, I'm trying to see how to say it. Justin wouldn't be, he wouldn't be the normal one, the semi-normal one compared to Quincy Combs. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, with Justin, we don't see, like, for real, like, we don't really see Justin out there like Christian Combs. We don't really see him out there like that. Now, I think what's messing Justin up, Justin and Christian Combs, they're like buddy, like tied to the hip, like they could be twins. Like that's just how close they are. Because if you go back when they raided Diddy's homes, who was at the home out there in California? Justin and Christian Combs. But who wasn't? Quincy. Quincy would know where to be found. If anything, like Quincy, like I'm being with the twins, my twin sisters. I'm not, you know. So I think with Justin, I think with him, he's the most semi-normal one because he been to college. He actually has that experience that Christian Combs has never had, that Quincy Combs has never had. He's experienced certain things that is what I would say kind of like a normal life. So personally, at this particular point, I think Justin just needs to kind of fall back because his mother is very upset. Now, I'll say this, she not finna put it out there all the way now because, you know, this is Diddy, you know, trial hasn't even started. But I guarantee you, after trial, because they did state when trial starts May the 5th of next year, they're saying that it shouldn't last no more than 1 month. After that trial, however it goes, I guarantee you Justin mom gonna say something. She might not. Look, it all depends though. It all depends how it goes down. Now, if it ends on a bad note and months later they give Diddy 25 years, 30 years, it might go down that way. But I guarantee you she gonna say something. Because she spoke up. She spoke up when Justin was going through his mess, and she said something like she blamed Diddy. But Cha says, yes, she will because he did her dirt. Exactly. And see, that's why I wanted to talk about. I was going to talk about that on another live because I was going to talk about the title was going to be, are you a Diddy or are you a banana? Are you a Diddy or are you a banana? Have you heard of the phrase called banana? in the as far as the YouTube world? Because banana is basically what people say as far as like, you know, subscribe. You know, instead of saying that, they'll say banana. You know, banana. versus, and I was going to say, are you a banana or are you a Diddy? And Diddy in the sense that, do you do people dirty on YouTube? Or do you do people dirty in real life? However you treat somebody, if it's at work, if it's with your family, if it's at school, even if it's just the cashier that is taking care of you at the grocery store. However, I believe in the universe. However you treat the universe, that is what will come back onto you. Now, when I say banana, Charles, you says, I like that. You should do that live. Exactly. That's what that is why I was going to say, are you a banana or are you a Diddy? Because in Diddy's case, Diddy could have avoided all of this. Just like O.J. Simpson. O.J. Simpson could have avoided all of this. And now we have more, of the social media. More people have access to things getting quote unquote leaked out. That's what Diddy team says. Diddy's attorney says things are getting leaked out per se. I feel a lot of things could have been avoided if Diddy would have just, listened to Johnny Cochran back, when Johnny Cochran represented him. Because we all know during the Johnny Cochran time, Diddy should have went to prison then. It shouldn't have been shot. And I'm going to just be straight up. I'm just going to be very blunt. He avoided that. And I'm going to also be straight up. Shame on Jennifer Lopez. Shame on Jennifer Lopez. All this time has gone by. All this time she knew what happened during that case. And I hope that these so-called prosecutors that's charging Diddy, that's coming at Diddy right now in New York, Miss J-Lo from the Bronx, Miss J-Lo, Miss Jenny from the block, I hope they put her on the stand. I hope she's one of the so-called people that they have. Because just like they're getting all these cases from 1991 in a civil lawsuit on Diddy, okay? They need to get that case that happened during the Johnny Cochran time, because Diddy could have avoided a lot of this. But Diddy, throughout the years, from what I've looked up, I don't know about you, Charles, if you looked it up or not, but Diddy, throughout the years, he could have avoided this. And it seems like as the time goes on, it seems like Diddy just started to deteriorate when it came down to his brand, when it came down to the way he runs business, when it came down to how he moves as a man. Because any real man, and I'm just going to be straight up, I don't care who hears this, any real man, they would not put their hands on a woman. They would not put their hands on a woman. And that is why when it comes down to his mother, Janice Combs, with that statement that she released this week, was it this weekend or last week? Basically saying there's lies in between the truth. Well, ma'am, there's no lie in that video. That video that was in the words leaked out. There was no lie in between that. Because a real man will never put their hands on somebody that's running from them. A real man will never put their hands on somebody that is literally has their back turned. So these are things I say that could have been avoided. All of that could have been avoided. So with the, are you a banana or are you a Diddy? I was going to do a live speaking on that and talking about that, because it's a lot of people in this world today. They walk around like they high and mighty and they're all of that, but they're not. They're just a Diddy, but in their own form and fashion. Because I looked up where Oprah Winfrey, she was taking pictures and hanging out with so-called Diddy. And my whole thing is, where were you, Oprah Winfrey? You knew my thing is, everybody knew what Diddy had going on. Now, as far as these allegations go that's going on right now, I can't say all what Diddy did, but or what he didn't do. But one thing you can't take back, you can't take back what that video showed. You can't take back, You know what I'm saying? Like, it's certain things you can't take away. And this could have been avoided in the sense that Diddy should have listened to Johnny Cochran when he got out of the situation years ago. Because Johnny Cochran said, and I quote, "I'm not doing no more criminal cases like this anymore after this." That's just how stressful and draining it was. So how is it years later, Diddy is in a worse position than he was then? He's in a worse position now than he was then. Charles says, we need to pay Wendy her flowers because she called it from Hot 97 days and they ran her out for a while. Look. It's funny that you bring that up. I'm going to say this before I go. I'm going to say this because somebody want me to go. It's funny that you say that because that's why you have to be very careful what you say and how you say it when you're on the internet. And I mean, I'm just saying now, and let alone back in the Hot 97 days, because if you can remember, Diddy ran it. You know what I'm saying? Like you didn't talk out the side of your mouth about Diddy. Because look what happened to Wendy. They ended up terminating her. And it's really sad because look at Wendy now. I wish Wendy could be on a platform right now. I'm serious. I wish she could be on a platform right now because of her ways, you know, dealing with circumstances. I don't want to get too much into it, but it's to the point that people took advantage of her. And she knew what was going on with Diddy. She knew what was going on even with Whitney Houston. Let's take it back, right? So, but like I said, when you have certain powers, because Diddy back then, he had power to the point he can get somebody terminated like Wendy. But boy has the tables turned. Look at what's going on with Diddy now. Look how his brand has deteriorated. He has no power. Because if he had the power, he wouldn't be in the position that he's in now. And I just hate the fact that with Wendy Williams, she is not on a platform right now because I like looking at her show when she had the Wendy Williams show, you know, on television. But it's like you don't get that now. You get I just said, you get the quote unquote fakes. You get the fakes. Because Wendy Williams was the only one that was just quote unquote straight up. She was the only one that was straight up as far as being on a national network. And at this particular time, I just feel bad as, you know, even how it's, you know, how it's coming with Wendy Williams. This is a woman that has no control over her living. She has somebody monitoring her money, controlling how much is spent, what is spent. Then to the point, she can't even talk to her quote unquote family members at this point. You know what I'm saying? Like they have to go through somebody to go to somebody. So it's like at this particular point, Wendy has no control. All for what though? For speaking her truths. And then, like I said, people try to play on the weak. They play on the weak. And I don't know if you was here when I did the Whitney Houston live. They play on the weak in the sense that with Whitney Houston, her own brother, Michael Houston, played on her because he said it in an interview that he was the one that introduced Whitney Houston to, you know, the white. Okay, I'll say it that way. The white base. Okay. So with Wendy Williams, in her case, you know, somebody introduced her to that, you know, to that usage of stuff. And it's just sad how it's all coming about right now. And it seems like when people get to a certain level, when they get to a certain point, that's when you really have, the true test come at you. Charles says, I agree, and that's sad. Exactly. You have the true test that comes at you when you're at your highest point. And that's why when, I don't know if you saw vegans video, that's why I was going to I was going to mention some YouTubers, not in a bad way. Now, I ain't going to talk about nobody bad. Look, I ain't going to do all that, but I was going to mention some YouTube content creators, such as yourself, as your page, as far as Green Vegans page, how you guys actually, when I talk to you guys, it's like positive energy. And with Green Vegan, she recently did a video saying, from what I took, sometimes you have to take a deep breath and you have to take a step back, and when you make a certain amount of money, you don't have that time to take a step back. You don't even think about making that time to just breathe. Sometimes somebody might come up to you, you stressed out, and say, hey, you want this to relax? Or hey, you want this? Then now you're an addict. Now they have control over you. Now they have control over your life, your money, your family, your wealth, your health. And that's why I was going to do a video like, are you a banana or a Diddy? Because in Diddy's case, all this could have been dealt with. In Wendy's case, all this could have been dealt with. And I feel so bad in regards to Wendy because she has no control over her life. And she works so hard. She works so hard for what? For some lady to have complete control over her estate, over all of her assets. Nobody should want to live like that. Nobody should want to live like that when they get to a certain age where they can't even go out and just sit down and have dinner. They can't even do that. That is the position that Wendy Williams is in. And I that's why I try to tell people, you have to be careful with who you have in your circle, even on this YouTube world. You have to be careful who you have in your circle, who you follow, who you watch, or, you just have to be careful, because I really believe in the energies. I really believe in the universe. I really believe if you see nothing but negativity and that's all you see and hear, that's all going to come your way is nothing but negativity. So that's what I was planning on talking about. And I appreciate you, Cha, for coming in. And Cha, let me ask you this. When it comes, because I had asked Eyes of Art, when you do StreamYard, I've never done StreamYard, but is there any way like you can go vertical, like, and have, how can I say it, and have a panel come up while you're going vertical? Because that's what I wanted to actually bring a panel up, or start a panel where in vertical I could have actual people come up and how it used to be. That's what I was trying to figure out. If you're still there, Cha. Well, I was just asking because I was trying to actually work on, and you says I actually never did it this way, only my laptop. So Eyes would definitely know for sure. No, because I had asked Eyes. She said she never did it. She wasn't sure about that. And me, it's taking a lot for me to even be able to do this much. As far as doing a live on my page. So I was just trying to actually see how I can put people, in. It's like, I don't think people know. For me personally, it takes a lot for me to even do this much, for me to even be able to talk even behind the camera, let alone how you see some people, talk in front of the camera and do all this. Like, this is a challenge for me. This is a lot. And I was trying to actually see how I can actually, still do this faceless until I get my weight up, feeling confident, and also bringing more people in as far as having a panel to talk, per se. That's what I was trying to do. But last question though, child, before I get off. Like, what time is this a good time for you, or would you like me to come a little bit earlier on Eastern time, in your opinion? Or is this time fine for you? And hello, everybody. When you come in, please hit that like button. My name is Politic Graham. I was speaking on Diddy, on the Diddy hearing yesterday. The trial has finally been announced. The trial will start May the 5th of 2025 if nothing else comes up. But before the trial starts, they will have another hearing on December the 18th of this year. And in the next 2 weeks, I forgot to mention this, 2 weeks or so, because Diddy is once again put in that appeal. His attorney, specifically Anthony Rico, the gentleman that I showed you earlier, he put in an appeal to appeal the decision that was made by the 2 judges denying Diddy's request to bail out. So Diddy's not giving up. His team is not giving up anyway. I don't know about Diddy. Charles says, earlier or this time it's okay. I'm usually able to catch you on during my off days. Okay, I got you. Earlier or during this time. Okay, I appreciate that. And on that note, I thank you so much, Cha, for coming in. I thank you so much. And it took a lot for me to push myself to do this live. I'm trying to be very consistent with doing lives. I'm trying to be very consistent with doing lives, and I'm not gonna say no names. I'm going to be very positive. But like I said, and I'm still standing on that, I love everybody. I respect everybody on this platform. I have nothing against anybody, and I'm going to take note what somebody said to me. Make sure you try to go on live and do videos and put out content every day. I'm really trying, and it took a lot to push myself to even do this live, so late, or just do a live period today. But I had to kind of, check myself and take a deep breath. And just, as they say, just do it. So I thank you guys for coming in and, supporting me. And until then, please have peace of mind, and please have peace. And I'll talk to you guys later. Bye, child. Thank you so much. Bye.